So in this video, let us see how to solve quadratic equations when a is squared and c is squared. For example, if we have 9x squared minus 16 equals 0. And in example 2, we have got 25k squared minus 81 equals 0. Now, what we are going to do for this case is that we remember that a squared minus b squared equals a plus b into a minus b. So we will use this to factor our quadratic equations. Now in this case, let us write 3x squared for 9x squared, and we write 4 squared for 16. It is equal to 0. Now, let's say that we have got 3x we have got 3x plus 4 into 3x minus 4 equals 0. So, we say that 3x plus 4 equals 0, or 3x minus 4, 3x minus 4 equals 0. So 3x equals negative 4, or 3x equals 4. And in that case, we say that x equals negative 4 out of 3, which is the same as negative 1 and 1 out of 3. This side we say that x equals 4 out of 3, which is the same as 1 and 1 out of 3. So, the values of x are x equals negative 1 out of 1 and 1 out of 3, or x equals 1 and 1 out of 3. Now in example 2, let's write 5k squared for 25k squared minus 9 squared for 81 to come up with 0. Let us factor them by having 5k plus 9 into 5k minus 9. We come up with 0. So that we get 5k plus 9 equals 0, or 5k minus 9 equals 0. So in that case, we shall have 5k equals negative 9, such that k is negative 9 out of 5 and k is negative 1 and 4 out of 5. This side we have 5k equals 9 and k is 9 out of 5, which is the same as 1 and 4 out of 5. And the final values of x are, final values of k are k is negative 1 and 4 out of 5, or k equals 1 and 4 out of 5. Let's move on. We get more examples. In example number 3, let us have a squared minus 36 equals 0. And in part 4, let us have 4y squared minus 100 equals 0. So now, let us have a squared minus 6 squared for 36 equals 0, such that we have a plus 6 into a minus 6 equals 0. Now that we get a plus 6 equals 0, or a minus 6 equals 0. So a equals negative 6, or a equals 6. So finally, a equals negative 6, or a equals 6. In the final example, let's have 2y squared for 4y squared minus 10 squared for 100 equals 0. So let's have 2y plus 10 into 2y minus 10 equals 0. So that we get 2y plus 10 equals 0, or 2y minus 10 equals 0. And 2y equals negative 10, such that y is equal to negative 10 out of 2, which is the same as negative 5. This side we get 2y equals 10, and y equals 10 out of 2, which is equal to 5. So our final answers are that y equals negative 5, or y equals 5. Let's move on and get the quadratic equations that are in a general form. And in example 1, let us have x squared plus 9x plus 18 is equal to 0. In number 2, we have a squared minus 3a minus 28 equals 0. Like you have seen previously, our main role at this step is to have this quadratic equation in factored form. Okay, we have got to have x plus a certain number and also x plus another number. What will these numbers be? These two numbers will be the numbers that are multiplied to get 18, and when they are added we get 9. Now, to come up with, actually it's like we have got a number times another number equals 18, and the same number plus another number we get 9. And you see that to come up with 18, we can have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Or we can have -1 and -18, or -2 and -9, or -6 and -3. So you see that for these negatives, none of them will give us 9. To the side of positives, 1 and 18 cannot give us 9. 2 plus 9 cannot give us 9. But 3 plus 6 can give us 9. So our numbers are 3 and 6. You can see that 3 times 6 we get 18, and 3 plus 6 we get 9. So we have got 3 and 6. So this number is 3 and this number is 6. So when it is factored, we can see that we'll get x plus 3 into x plus 6 equals 0. So x plus 3 equals 0, or x plus 6 equals 0. And you see that x equals -3, or x equals -6. So these are the solutions to our quadratic equation. Now in part 2, we will also have this equation factored such that we will get a plus a number and also a plus a number. As we have seen in example 1, we are looking for two numbers that can be multiplied to get -28, and when they are added we get -3. Two numbers when multiplied we get -28. Two numbers when added we get -3. As we have seen in the previous examples, these numbers will be 4 and -7. 4 and -7. You can see that 4 times -7 we get -28, but 4 plus -7 we get -3. So we have got 4, we have got -7. So in the factored form, we'll have a plus 4 into a minus 7 equals 0. So we see that a plus 4 equals 0, or a minus 7 equals 0. So we see that now a will be negative 4, or a will be 7. So this becomes our final values of a. And now let's get example number 3. We get 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 equals 0. And in the final example, we get x into x plus 6 equals negative 5. Now, similarly, as we have seen previously in example number 1 and 2, we have got to get this quadratic equation in factored form. So, we have got to get the leading coefficient, which is 2, times c, which is negative 12. So we get 2 times negative 12 to get negative 24. And then we have got a 5 here. So we need two numbers that can be multiplied to get negative 24, and two numbers that can be added to get 5. Like you have seen already, these numbers will be negative 3 and 8. Negative 3 times 8, we get negative 24. But also, negative 3 plus 8, we get 5. So we have got negative 3 and we have got 8. Now, we have got to divide them by the leading coefficient, which is 2. And when this is reduced 8 out of 2, we get 4 out of 1. Now, we will use 4 out of 1 and negative 3 out of 2. So, we have got, and don't forget that the number down, or the denominator, is the leading coefficient. So we have got 2x, and this side, since we have 1, it is 1x, but 1x is the same as x, minus 3 here plus 4. So that you can see that we have got 2x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 4, x plus 4 equals 0. So in that case, 2x equals 3, or x equals negative 4. And now if 2x equals 3, it means that x is 3 out of 2. But 3 out of 2 is the same as 1, and 1 out of 2. So our final answers are x is 1 and 1 out of 2, or x is negative 4. So these are the solutions to our quadratic equation. Finally, if you have got quadratic equation in this kind of format, we will first simplify it to become a general form of a quadratic equation. So let's get x times x to get x squared, and we get x times 6 to get 6x, which is equal to negative 5. And now in the next step, let's get this 5 this side to come up with x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. So what we have got to do at this point is to look for two numbers that can be multiplied to get 5 but added to get 6. Two numbers multiplied to get 5 but added to get 6. And you see that those numbers are 1 and 5, because 1 times 5 is 5, but 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. So we have got 1 and 5. So the factored form of our equation is x plus 1 into x plus 5 equals 0. So this means that x plus 1 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. And then x equals negative 1, or x equals negative 5. So our final answers are x equals negative 1, or x equals negative 5. So these are the solutions to our quadratic equation. I hope this can help you. Thank you.